Hello to you all. I'm so grateful to have the opportunity to share energy with you this morning. I'm sharing this message at the tail end of Scorpio season. It's the 19th of November, and we have the Sun, the Moon, Mercury, and Venus all in Scorpio. This all says that we are walking through death. Death is communicating through life and transforming everything. And it's that Mars in Sagittarius that's actually informing where all of these changes are happening. There are 3 cards I want to talk about that have been coming up. The first 2 are the 3 of Swords and the Hierophant. If any of you read cards, please drop me a message below and tell me if these have been coming up for you. Because I looked into them and what they actually are communicating into our lives. Okay. The third card I've brought up is the Death card. It's also been coming up and it represents Scorpio as well. When I read into the Hierophant, card number 5 in the Major Arcana, what it was communicating to me is that the theme currently, okay, under sort of this death energy, the theme is about applying lessons that you've learned, okay, allowing the things that you've learned to affect your life. The Hierophant was clarified by the 5 of Wands, which is very much giving me transformative energy because that is the theme right now. It is the materialization of transformation. I've pulled a Celtic cross and I'm going to show it on the screen. If you look at the center, you have the King of Wands crossed by the King of Discs. That's the King of Pentacles. And so this is very much leadership energy. Okay. Look at the King of Wands and how he's holding up this wand and it's got this jewel on it. Okay, this jewel for me is representing pentacles. Even though we're looking at fire energy, we're looking at wands. It does have this blue, which links to this planet that the King of Pentacles is holding in his hand. And what this is telling me is that there are things in your life transforming, but the challenge, okay, and this is not to say, this is not in a bad sense, good sense or anything. It's just what this transformation is working through, is saying that it's working through the things that already exist in your life. This is like stuff like your routines, the structures, and the ideas that you have about how things are meant to be, because that's what's been disrupted of late. Look at it almost like as an earthquake, and now through the cracks is where some of these things are now have the opportunity to enter your life. And you can sort of see it as like the reason why some of these earthly things, these material ideas, these things have actually shattered, if I could put it that way, under the pressure of your desires, okay, the things that you want. And earth is one of those elements. It's an element that we can struggle to shift, okay? And so in a sense, energetically, earth has shifted on our behalf. But now, with all of the things that you're experiencing, evidence of transformation, okay, what's being asked here is that you become supportive of this. And this is why I've come here today, because there is huge opportunity surrounding you, is what I want to say. When I clarified the 3 of Swords, okay, this is usually spoken of as a card of heartbreak and so many negative things. But this card started showing up before sort of trouble started being sensed. When I say trouble, I just mean the feeling in the heart, the feeling of, you know, when I do this, or when I think like this, let's say any negative thoughts, because those were also coming up, like negative scary thoughts that you really don't want to manifest. I'm referring to fear, was starting to reflect in your actual environment. And so this is that scary feeling when you think something and then it happens. Okay? And so sometimes this can happen with things that you don't want to happen, and sometimes this can happen with things that you do want to happen. But this is actually to make very clear how quickly you are manifesting right now, and what a responsibility you have over your sense of peace, because you cannot always control the mind. When I say that, I mean that very close to your mindset. Let's talk in terms of your body. Your third eye is right there. So if you think about it, some of the things that you see, whether it's flashes of the future or flashes of things that could happen, your intuition is not always going to feed you positivity. It's your discernment that comes after your intuition that allows you to filter, using your mind, what you're going to do with that information. And so I want to say, how do I put this? There are scary thoughts that come up intuitively, and straight after these thoughts are thunk, you can actually move to peace to manage how those intuitive hits manifest. This Three of Swords has been more about healing than it has been about heartbreak. And so this is like to stabilize and bring to peace things in your life that you've really wanted to change. It's clarified by the Five of Pentacles. Okay. And so these are areas where you've felt alienated, opportunities you felt left out of. These are the things that are coming up for healing. These are a lot of fives: Five of Pentacles, Five of Wands, and Five the Hierophant. Five represents change. Okay. And when I clarified the Death card, I got the 10 of Pentacles. And so this Scorpio season has been happening literally to transform your Five of Pentacles into your 10 of Pentacles. The things that you really want, the things that you really desire are now possible. But what's important to note is that your world is currently mirroring you. This is to say, what you put out is what you're getting back, in a way that I've never actually seen before. And I've written down here, what you give is what you get. What this is translating to for me is, if you're giving your world ease, you're going to get ease back. If you're giving your world endings, you're going to get endings back. You know, this is a good thing. This is a good thing, because it's saying that how you show up is how the world is going to show up for you. This is in the Celtic cross. If you look at just this area of where you're coming from, it's the only water card I have on the screen. That's the Six of Cups. So this is very karmic energy. Cups representing emotion, okay? Love. There's also a sense of gratitude in this card, and innocence. This is really a mirroring energy. When you give, you're going to get. Not in a transactional way, but a way of responsibility. So what you're holding and what you're reflecting and how you're showing up is what's coming back. Okay. And that's why there's all this almost cutting off and ending energy, so that you can start to see this happening in your life. This is also to say, where you're giving gifts, you're going to get gifts back. Where you're giving space, you're going to get space back. And this is why it's been so important for a lot of this earth energy to be transformed in order to make way. Because karmic energy can struggle to move into your life and return into your life in ways that feel aligned when there are all these doors up and structures up and time limits standing in the way. In other words, in a time where mindset is the key, whether these doors are open or not is very much dependent on whether you've made way through allowing your routine to be affected. Okay? When I say affected, I'm talking about the things you say, what you believe is possible, what you're speaking into existence, and how light you're moving. Okay? When I say how light you're moving, when I refer to things like ease And when I refer to things like routine, I'm talking about when you've been in a certain routine of doing things a certain way. If those ways are not in alignment with ease, then what is reflected back into your life cannot be reflected back with ease. And so in order for you to embrace ease, okay, and to also karmically allow ease back into your life, I'm referring to this mirror, you need to be willing to let go of all the things that you do that bring you into a state of dis-ease. To clarify this further, I'm talking about things that require a lot of effort from you, okay? Because something else that's been coming up for me is minimum effort, maximum impact. This has been coming up for some months now. I probably journaled it in July, okay? And I connected with it, but didn't quite understand how it was going to play out. And how I'm seeing it right now that we're on the tail end of Scorpio season, this is some of the new projects you want to start, some of the new things you want to try, because we are very much in experimental energy right now, okay? I want to go back to experimental energy, but I just want to finish this point first. There's a lot, okay? What I'm saying is that you don't have to feel bad or guilty that you are doing things in a way that is easiest for you, okay? This is embracing shortcuts. When you embrace shortcuts are able to embrace you. Your world is mirroring you. And so, yes, you're a magnificent person, okay? You can do so many things. Some of these things take you a bit more time and you enjoy them. But if currently you're getting the sense that you should not be spending your time that way, you need to listen to that. If intuitively you sense a sort of easy way out of something, embrace it because it's an opportunity. And so that energy, that approach of I must put my effort, all of my heart into this thing for it to work, what you're actually saying to your world is that you need to push and work hard in order for things to return to you. And so if intuitively you are getting a shortcut, please embrace it. Because what these shortcuts are doing, okay, even though they come in with this sort of devil energy, confusing because of how you understand life to work, or used to understand life to work, because a lot of these mindsets, they're shifting very quickly, and there's a lot of adjustments that are being asked for, a lot of discomfort that's being caused because you're being asked to move differently, okay? What these shortcuts are doing for you is that they're opening up your time in order for you to experiment, in order for you to find yourself in places that you don't usually find yourself. And I don't mean, doesn't have to be necessarily physically. This is basically allowing yourself to open the door to wonderland, whatever that means. Time to do things you don't usually do so that opportunities that usually do not find you can find you. And so embrace the shortcuts. They are not a bad thing, okay? If you even look at those words, shortcut, okay? A shortcut is what sort of expands time, okay? And basically, that mirrored back to you is cut short. And so the time that it takes for opportunities that you've been wanting to find you can now be cut short. I want you to really look into this mirroring energy. It's there in the Six of Cups. There is so much mirrored energy here as far as earth and fire, okay? As far as things are being transformed materially. Materially, I'm referring to earth energy. I'm referring to the things that usually feel fixed in your life, okay? The things that matter. you've got the King of Wands and the King of Pentacles. Okay, so how you're leading is shifting. Okay, the things that you are transforming are shifting, some of which have felt either stagnant or stable. And I'm pointing these two words out to show you how, sort of the frequency of the same word just shifts. The frequency of the meaning of the word, if I could put it that way, because stagnant and stable are basically saying the same thing. It's just like how they're reflecting to you. Because if you want something to change, it feels stagnant. If you want something to become stable, it needs to start to behave in a way that looks like it's staying in the same place. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? You also have the Five of Wands with the Five of Discs. Okay? This is the areas in your life where you felt out in the cold, where you felt alienated, where you felt left out, excluded. These areas are transforming, but they're asking for your habits to shift through embracing new ways. For example, shortcuts and ease. Another thing they're asking me to share with you is you've put in so much work. You've put in so much work, and this has been a really intense period of your life, era in your life. Okay. And so the need to embrace shortcuts and the need to embrace ease is so that you understand that all of that work you've put in wants to pay off. However, it's going to struggle to pay off and enter your life if you are of the understanding that you just need to push harder and longer and hang in there. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Look at your advice. You've got the Ten of Wands. This is about releasing burdens. This is about having arrived, even though you feel tired. This is about having arrived. There's a sense of relief with the card, a sense of completion with the card. It's a 10, okay, which is now taking me back to the 10 of Pentacles, which we've also seen. So that's another mirrored energy. And so these cards are very opposite. In a sense, I want to say mirrored as well. Earth and fire. Okay? Your burdens are being transformed into pentacles, into your idea of what it feels like, the opposite of what it feels like to be in the Five of Pentacles. In a sense, what you need to know is that you can't go wrong right now. When I say that, okay, I'm still holding you responsible for this. But what I mean by you can't go wrong is that while your world is mirroring you, you are the decider of what comes back. Okay? And so this sense of control that you sometimes relate to feelings of peace. Okay? When things are under control, I feel at peace. What I want to say to you is that that sense of control is actually a form of resistance. And so if you can release resistance, these things can flow in. It's like a pipe under pressure. Okay, once you release that pressure, everything can start to flow in. Faster. Faster. I don't actually know how else to put it. Yeah, that's it. There's also the Six of Cups with the Six of Wands in your surrounding factors. In your surrounding factors, this is speaking to me very much around you've actually arrived. You've arrived in the sense that it's time to believe that things are now successful. I'm not referring to bypassing anything. I'm referring to your perspective on how you're seeing opportunities come in, embracing this mirroring energy. Look at the High Priestess right at the top. She's sitting on her throne. She uses her third eye. She sees what's going to happen and she stays on her throne. Okay? She's powerful. Her mind is powerful. Her sight is powerful. What she sees can literally be breathed into existence. Okay, and so what you're not seeing her doing is running after things. That's actually what I'm seeing by her sitting on her throne. She's not running after anything. Her hands are at rest. Okay? The other two major arcana in this spread, besides the High Priestess, is the Sun and the Star. Okay, so this is subconsciously, you're very much picking up on this healing energy. Okay, there's a prosperity energy. And in your near future, I have the Sun. That is your ultimate fulfillment, is approaching. Okay, and with the Two of Swords, though, in the area of what you want and fear the most, this is the fear of being wrong. This is the fear of wanting things to change, worrying that how you're seeing things could be wrong, but also sort of grappling with this idea that you know things are changing, and so you're trying to work with your mind to accept that things are changing. So these cards with the Sun right next to this sort of card that represents confusion, this is clarity coming in to say you are not wrong. So you can expect that clarity to come in. And with that clarity is going to come all these other things that you've been expecting as the High Priestess. In the outcome, I have the Eight of Pentacles. This is giving me the energy of things moving in a new way. That 8 is a sense of momentum, which is what I speak about in the energy update that I recorded. It's on Patreon. I'll leave the link below. It goes up all the way to January and talks about all of this water energy that we've been moving through, what's been transforming, and what we've been preparing for. I have 2222 on the clock. Twos have been a major theme. I do have the Two of Swords here, and we've got the High Priestess, which is number 2 as well. Dare I say, the number 2 also points to twin flame energy. When I speak about twin flame energy, I'm referring to that journey of resistance against your ideal self, okay, which is now moving into this energy of ease. Yin and yang are in balance. Even when you're feeling like the world is under pressure, it depends on how you look at this pressure, okay? From what I'm seeing in this energy that I've shared today, the world, earth, material things, things that matter to you, things that before felt like they'll take a long time or felt like they carried this contradictory energy, okay? Contradictory, reciprocal, things that, where you look at things that like, this depends on that, this relies on that. Those things are now under pressure to change. And given that they are already under pressure to change, your easing up means that they need to succumb to that pressure because you are not feeding that pressure. I'm going to tell you now with certainty that things that you doubted could happen, but that you could not let go of in your heart, are coming together. There are specific reasons why I tend to leave some of the real stuff to the end of these readings. Partly it's because that's when I'm like totally in flow, but also because I'm not one to dangle a carrot in the title of the video and then run the risk of feeling bad because I promised you something in the title that you actually haven't really engaged on. But if you're listening up till now, this energy is real. So continue to embrace this experimental energy, this energy of embracing shortcuts. You will find your way back into a rhythm, but this rhythm is not going to be like the rhythm you had before. The rhythm you had before was very much based on repeated routine, repeated structures, whereas you're now going to move into a routine of experimentation, okay? A routine of allowing transformation, of allowing new ideas to be embraced, okay? And also this not knowing what the result will be, but having placed positive intentions into it, knowing that the feedback is going to mirror what you've put in. Also without attaching to the transactional nature of what's already been shattered. I have 2610 on the clock, and this number gave me so many messages. The first one is, I looked up the meaning of this number, and it says, this depends on the context. It can refer to the Hebrew word for profane or pollute, okay, or the Greek word meaning to struggle against or overcome. Okay, this is using the strong system. I'm remembering someone who watches the channel, or used to, I'm not sure, Myron, if you're here. Myron would always add the interpretation, Strong's interpretation, to the comments section. And so shout out if you're here. But it says, in the context of angel numbers, 2610's meaning is derived from combining the message of its constituent numbers 2, balance and duality, and 6, home, family, and responsibility. Both of these numbers have come up big time in this reading. 6 of Cups, 6 of Wands, and the 2 of Swords, and our discussion around the High Priestess and Twin Flame. The other message 2610 is giving me, it made me go back to the 26th of October to see what I posted, and the reading is relevant, and so I'm going to leave a link below. It's about overgiving outside the container. There are messages in that reading that you're going to find very relevant at this time. The third thing that I want to leave you with is a reading that came up in the last 2 days. It is from last year, but the language may really appeal as we move through this twin flame energy. I've said that word so many times in this reading. I'm going to leave my twin flame narrative healing karma list playlist in the description below, because it in itself is not a bad word. It is how it has been used and interpreted that has slowed us down. The twin flame journey itself has so many lessons to share around resistance, okay, and chasing the things you want, releasing resistance so that these things can come into union. It's very much about yourself, but it is also very much about the material world and the people, places, and things that matter to you. I'm using very responsible language here today. Again, I'm going to leave all the links I mentioned in the description box below, the reading that came up from last year, and the link to my energy update that I recorded last week Friday. Thank you all for your support. I love you all so much. Until we meet again, sending you so much love.